Hey guys, okay, so I'm gonna go over the key for the linear equations quiz, and you need to open up the class kick, please, so your copy. I have already uploaded myself like a PDF version of your quiz, so I have a copy saved of what you did the first time. So I've unlocked it, so now you should be able to write on it. And so what I want you to do is for each question on the quiz that you didn't get correct, right next to that problem, either add a text box, or since it's class kick, you can add a voice memo too. I need a very specific reason for each problem that you missed, why your answer was not correct the first time. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go through that, and yeah, once you get done adding, sorry, I'm all over the place right now. After you get done adding those private comments, email me or add a comment to the retake assignment, and I'll take a look at your voice memos, and if it looks like your corrections are in good shape, I will send you the link to the makeup quiz. Okay, so let's go, shall we? So numbers 1 and 2, it's just asking for the slope of the line. So this equation is in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. And recall that the slope is the number that is in front of the x. So that means that the slope in this case is 1/3. For number 2, the 2 coordinates are already selected for you, so that makes it a little bit easier. To find the slope, remember you need the rise and you need the run between those 2 coordinates. So these 2 coordinates don't move up or down, right? So there is no rise because it's a flat line. So your rise is 0. The run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 0 divided by 6 means your slope is 0. Or you might just know that whenever you have a flat line like that that is horizontal, that the slope is 0. Either way, whether you did the rise or the run or you just knew, the slope is 0 for that one. For number 3, we need to find the slope, and in order to do that, we need to apply our slope formula. Remember, the old dead white dude who invented this said this is going to be coordinate 1, this is going to be coordinate 2, even though it really doesn't matter. So for my y2 minus y1, we're going to do negative 14 minus negative 12. So minus a negative, of course, means that that's going to be negative 14 plus 12. And then my x2 minus x1 will be 4 minus negative 14, which will be 4 plus 14. So now I just need to evaluate. So negative 14 plus 12 is negative 2. 4 plus 14 is 18. And there are several of you guys that stopped here. Remember, you always need to simplify. And both of these are divisible by 2. So our simplified version of the slope is negative 1 over 9. Okay, number 4 is giving you the slope and the y-intercept and asking you to put them into an equation in slope-intercept form. So we are going to replace the slope with that negative 2. And we're going to replace the y-intercept with that 5. So the equation will be y equals negative 2x plus 5. Okay, number 5 is asking for the entire equation. So we're not just looking for the slope anymore. We're looking for the equation in slope-intercept form. So again, y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to find the slope first. And remember, to make that happen, you've got to choose 2 coordinates if they're already not selected for you. And you need to choose 2 coordinates that like hit in a corner. So I'm going to choose those 2. I'm going to make my little stair steps so that I can count my rise and my run. So in this case, my rise is 1. My run is 4. This line is going in a positive direction. So that means it'll be 1/4 x. So now for the y-intercept, and remember the y-intercept is just wherever the graph is hitting the y-axis. This one is hitting right here at +2. So the full slope-intercept form of the equation is y equals 1/4 x plus 2. It's important for me to point out to you that even if you didn't choose the same 2 coordinates that I did, like let's say you chose that corner and that corner, you still should end up with the same answer as long as you do it correctly. So if you make your little stair step here, so here your rise is 2 and your run is 8. So 2/8 does simplify to 1/4. So either way, you should still get the same answer, which is that equation right there. Number 6, we're doing the same thing, y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to choose 2 points in a corner. I'm going to choose that one and that one. I'm going to draw my stair step. That was really crappy. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so my rise is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. My run is 1, 2. And this line is going down, so that is going to make that slope a negative. Well, 6/2 simplifies to a 3, so that means my slope is -3. So I'm going to put in the y equals -3x. For the last step, I just need the y-intercept, which it hits right down here at -2. So slope-intercept form of the equation of that line, that was a really ugly y, sorry about that, guys, is right there. All right, for number 7, now we're doing the opposite, where we're given the equation and now we need to graph it. So slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Even though it doesn't stand for this, it's helpful to think about the b as this is where I begin. Okay, so I'm going to begin at that y-intercept at that -3. And I'm going to zoom in here on my slope because my rise is -1 because it's going down, right? And my run is 4. So from that beginning point, from that -3, my rise will be down 1. And then I need to go over 4. So my next coordinate should be right here. Remember, on your all's quiz, the biggest thing was that I couldn't see, like, I totally get that some of your lines are going to be a little bit, junky because it's kind of hard to draw on the touch screen. But what I couldn't really see on a lot of your all's quizzes were your actual coordinates to actually see, like, where you plotted the point. So make sure on your retake that I can see that, okay? So typically we would have to have 3 coordinates. We would go down and then over again. But since we ran out of space, I've got to go back to my y-intercept, and I'm going to go up and then to the left in the other direction. So those are my 3 coordinates, which I am going to connect with a line. And it should look a little something like that. So again, on your retake, the biggest thing is just making sure that I can see where these coordinates are. That's the big thing. Okay, number 8, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to start with B, my beginning point, which is right there at -4. So my slope this time is a 9, which means that my rise is 9. And I'm going to put a 1 underneath it because that's what I need to do to turn a whole number into a fraction. So it's positive, which means my rise is going to be going up 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And over 1. So my next coordinate should be here. I did not give you enough room on the graph to make 3 coordinates at all, even if you go back in the other direction. So this is one of those rare times when 2 points is okay. I connected my dots and I added my arrows at the end. Number 9, again, we're asked to graph it, but this one is in standard form. It's not in slope-intercept form, and we haven't learned how to graph in standard form yet. So for now, all we know how to do is take that and get it to look like this. So I'm going to rewrite it down here. The first thing I notice is that that x is going to need to go over to the other side because the x is on the right-hand side in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to subtract 4 x's from both sides. So that's going to cancel. Leave me with a 3y. Over on the other side, I've got negative 4x plus 0. Because remember, in slope-intercept form, the x comes first, and the constant, which is your y-intercept, comes second. So that's why I put the x first and then the 0 second. I still need to get the y isolated all the way to get it into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to cancel out that 3. And I'm going to do that by dividing by 3. Remember, you got to divide everything by 3. So that leaves me with y equals negative 4 over 3, because 4 over 3 doesn't simplify to a whole number, and you can't simplify that fraction any more than it already is. So it's just going to stay negative 4 over 3x plus 0. This was the part that most people were missing on the quiz. You guys had stuff graphed, but I don't know where it came from because I didn't see this step right here where I could see how you converted the equation. So now that I've got the equation, I'm going to start at the y-intercept, the beginning point, which is 0. My slope is going to be down 4 because that's my rise. My run is over 3. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, that was a really crappy line. Sorry about that, guys. And I'm going to go over 3. I don't have enough room to make a third coordinate in that direction, so I need to go back this way and over. Now I've got my 3 coordinates. Just like so. And again, just like I said on the previous ones, here's where the action is, guys. If your line doesn't look that great, I'm okay with that. I get this is a little bit hard not doing it on paper with like a ruler, but I really, really, really need to see those coordinates. Numbers 10 and 11 are asking for the point slope form of the equation. So what several of you guys did that was really heartbreaking is you actually did extra work to not get it right, guys. So point slope is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we're going to play a little game of fill in the blanks. Remember, this is x1, y1. That is your slope. So instead of y minus y1, I'm going to replace that y1 with that negative 5. Because you're doing minus a negative, that is going to turn it into a plus 5. I'm going to substitute the slope in for m. And then x minus x1. x1 is going to be replaced by that negative 4. And again, because you're doing minus a minus, this is going to be a plus. So this is your answer, guys, because it's asking for it in point slope form. A lot of you guys did the extra step where you like distributed and you isolated the y. That's slope intercept form. So again, some of you guys did extra work and did extra work to get it wrong. So please do not do that on the retake. Pay attention to what format of the equation it's asking you for so that you do the right one. Okay, so number 11, I'm going to do the same thing. So it's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And so this will be y minus, and we're going to replace the y1 with the 1. No double negative this time, so the negative stays. It's just y minus 1. I'm going to replace the slope with 5/3. And then x minus x1. x1 will be replaced by 3. And once again, there is no double negative, so it's going to stay x minus 3. It asked for point slope form, so we don't need to do any conversion or anything like that. Number 12, this time it is asking for slope intercept, but because it gave us a point and a slope, we need to start with point slope. So I'm going to do the same formula that I just did above. I'm going to replace y minus y1. I'm going to replace it with 1 because that's my y coordinate. The slope is 5/4. And then this will become x minus 4. So now I need to get it to look like this. So my first step is that I'm going to ditch those parentheses by doing distributive property. I'm going to continue working it over here, guys. So 5/4 times x is 5/4 x. 5/4 times negative 4 will give you a minus 5. I'm going to bring the y minus 1 along for the ride over here. And finally, I need to isolate that y by adding 1 to both sides. So I've got y is equal to 5/4 x minus 4. Okay, last but not least, it's asking for the slope-intercept form of the equation. The problem is, in my last one, they gave me a slope, but this time they didn't give me a slope, did they? So the first thing I have to do is get myself a slope. I'm going to use that slope formula that we have already used in a previous problem. So y2 minus y1 means I'll do 3 minus 5. x2 minus x1 means I'll do 4 minus 3. So 3 minus 5 is negative 2. 4 minus 3 is 1. So my slope is a negative 2. So now that I have the slope and I've got 2 coordinates, now I can do point slope form. And remember, it doesn't matter which coordinate you choose. You should still get the right answer. Either way, as long as you do everything correctly. I'm just going to choose the one on the left for no particular reason, just because it's first and they're both positive numbers, so that works for me. So if I substitute my values in there, it'll be y minus y1 will be replaced by that 5 equals the slope is now going to be replaced by that negative 2 that I got in the previous step. And then x minus x1, x1 is going to be replaced by that x coordinate. So that'll be x minus 3. And now that I've got it in point slope, now I need to convert it to slope intercept because that is what the problem is asking me for. So now I need to distribute. So that'll be negative 2x plus 6. Bring down the y minus 5. Fully isolate the y by adding 5 to both sides. So the slope-intercept form of that equation is y equals negative 2x plus 11. Last but not least, all right, so we got to do what we did before to get an equation in slope-intercept form. We got to get a slope in the first place. So if I do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, that'll be 5 minus 0 over 2 minus negative 3. That's a double negative, so it's going to end up being 2 plus 3. So that's going to leave me with 5 over 5, which simplifies to a 1. So now that I have the slope, and I already had a couple of points, I'm going to choose a point. I'm going to choose this one just because it doesn't have the negatives in there. So that just has a tendency to not mess me up so much. So, but you could do either one. It doesn't matter. So y minus y1, that y1 is going to be replaced with a 5 equals the slope is going to be replaced by that slope that I got in the previous step. And then x minus x1 is going to be that minus 3. So it's going to be x minus a negative 3, which is, oh, I'm sorry. I just screwed up. I was getting ready to put, I actually just made a very common mistake, guys. See how I said I was going to use this coordinate, but I was getting ready to use the x coordinate from there. That actually happens all the time, that people accidentally use a coordinate from one coordinate and then accidentally use one from the other coordinate too. So don't do that. So x minus 2 is actually what that's going to be, because the x1 is going to be replaced by that 2. So now if I distribute, if you distribute a 1 to the x minus 2, it's still just going to be x minus 2. Remember that you really don't need the 1 in front of that x, because in math we like stuff as simple as possible, and if there's nothing there, we just know that there's a 1 there. And last but not least, I need to isolate my y. So this should be y equals x plus 3. So if you have any questions whatsoever while you're doing any of these corrections, please reach out, and after you've gotten your corrections done, remember to add a comment or email me that you've got it finished so that I can take a look at your voice memos and your explanations for why your answers were not correct the first time. If it all looks good, I will send you the link to the retake.